we're back again for another mat chat. Well, I'm not quite on the mat. I'm sitting in a chair and I'm sitting here with one of my good friends and health gurus, weight loss expert. And I would like to talk to you about some ideas because I know that some of us need just that extra little push. Feel like we're failing. You're not failing. Let me introduce you to my good friend, my dear friend, also another beauty. She's been involved with the PowHERbands through all of the changes that I've been through over the last, I think, 3 years, Beth.
3 years, 3
Yeah,
years.
she's been with us she's one of the OGs. So really excited to introduce you to her. She loves our group. She loves working out with our bands. She does them on her own. So we don't get to see her a lot, but I get to hear from her. I get to see her. She's totally a rock star. So please take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us about the Sadkin therapy that you focus in on.
Hi, thanks so much, Becca. I appreciate you introducing me. I got involved with Sadkin therapy it's been 5 years, actually. This month is 5 years now that I'm thinking about that. And I've always been interested in health and wellness. And it's just a natural way for people to get in tune with their bodies. That's really the focus, is actually getting in tune with your body, because
Love that.
anybody can really lose weight, but learning to listen to your cues is really the only way to keep it off. So that's really the big takeaway, I would say, from the program. I use a patented method of acupressure, which actually controls their hunger and flushes out the fatty tissue from the organs as we detox them. So by controlling your hunger, then we can tune in and learn on the hunger scale where you fall and where you're legitimately hungry versus, a lot of times we're thirsty when
As I pick up my water.
and we think we're hungry. We translate it as hunger when we could probably just have a glass of water, and learning when to stop.
Yeah, I think speaking on that, there's so many cues for hunger that are not real hunger, cravings,
Mhm.
emotional,
Exactly.
physiological, like being tired, having boredom,
Right.
maybe it's just your habit of you sit at your desk, you get the bag, right? You get the
Right.
pile of nuts or something. So tell
Right.
us, so this
Exactly. And
acupressure flushes it out and helps them to recalibrate.
right. So, and first of all, I'm glad that you mentioned tired, because yes, if you're not getting enough sleep, you tend to reach for things. That's normal. And it might even seem something so innocuous as one of those sugary drinks. You don't even think about it, that you order from Starbucks, when there's so much going into that thing. It's crazy. So, yes, sleep is a key component. So the acupressure balls are working with your circadian rhythm, which is your 24-hour body cycle. So it's getting everything in sync, just working with your organs and when they're the most active. So for example, the acupressure point for the stomach and liver is sort of behind the top curvature of the ear. The stomach is the most active at 3 p.m., which probably most of you realize that at 3 p.m. you tend to start reaching for something, you get hungry. So that's a key time to do the acupressure to yourself, because I actually teach my clients to do it to themselves. So
Okay.
it's all natural. I don't believe in weighing things or calorie counting or injection.
Amen. Stop that noise. That's so
Yeah,
much trouble. It's not
exactly.
normal. Animals in the wild don't measure their food.
Right. And
They
it's
hunt it,
not
they eat it.
sustainable.
Right, right. We have
Right.
to learn about satiation, right?
That's
When we're not really, when we're full, when we're not hungry. And you're right.
exactly.
Like when you're tired, the reason that you're reaching for food is because your body needs energy, right?
Right.
That is what food is. Food is energy. Now, what foods are we eating? Let's talk about this. So the circadian clock, I just learned about this now. 3 p.m. is the stomach. What time does the liver go off?
So the 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. is for stomach and liver. We also do
Okay.
7 p.m. as a key time, because that's when your hypothalamus, which is controlling your clock, is so active. So those are like the most important times on the program. Some of it varies based on the organs that we're doing, but 7 p.m. is consistent throughout the program. And then we combine it with a shortened eating window. So I am a big believer in intermittent fasting.
Yo, me too.
I was just writing a post about it. It's really like hitting Control Alt Delete on a computer for like us old schoolers that get that reference. But it's basically like, you know, how you can do a body scrub on your arm and slough off skin. It's essentially doing that to your insides. So I love it. I'm a big fan. My end game for everybody is a Mediterranean style diet to maintain their weight loss combined with intermittent fasting. And that's actually how I live my life. And good, well-rounded, whole, real, fresh fruits and vegetables, lean protein, healthy fats, whole grains. So while they're on the program and flushing out the fat, we combine the acupressure with the intermittent fasting. And then the food plan is a rotation of fruits and vegetables and lean protein. So we don't add the healthy fats in until they've reached their goal, and then the whole grains right after that. So we're kind of easing back into that. So we're really focused on just filling your plate with as many veggies as you can. Maybe the fruit is some dessert, and then some lean proteins. Like I'm a big fan of Greek yogurt and fish. Those would be my go-to, some eggs.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's really the whole program. There's
Simple.
nothing,
People can make these things themselves. It's not complicated. It's really
right?
simple, huh?
And I
Yeah.
want them to, because that's the other big takeaway is learning to plan and prep your meals.
Yes.
Preparation is key. I'm a big meal prepper. I spend about 20 minutes on Sundays. I prep my lunches for the week. I roast off a sheet pan of veggies, and it just makes things easier.
I'm with you. I'm totally with you. I always have a grain made, one or two grains, because I like to sift around. I always have my lean proteins ready to go. I'm more vegetarian style, so I lean towards more phytonutrient and plant-based types of proteins. I do eat fish. I don't prep that. I will cook a fresh piece
Oh
of
yeah.
fish or fresh crab meat or something
Yeah.
like that.
I don't prep the protein. I prep the vegetables actually take so much longer to cook. And so that is what I'm essentially prepping. But the
Yeah,
prepping
yeah,
part of it too, knowing what you're going to eat. So you're not like, oh, what should I have now to eat is so
yeah,
key. The planning
yeah.
component.
One of my favorite things to prep. So I do prep a couple meals. So like I'll do a stuffed pepper with quinoa and a bunch of other vegetables inside of it. So I'll take these
Mhm.
peppers, I know, so good. And then at the end, when I'm gonna go heat it up, I take it out of the refrigerator ahead of time. So it's just room temperature. I don't have to overcook it. And then I'll put some vegan cheese on top of it and then put it like under the hot broiler. And oh, so good. Yeah. So
So
yeah. So I'm all
that's
about the
each
prepping
one
too.
for you to prep. Yeah, absolutely. And I am a big fan
Overnight
of
oatmeal too.
quinoa.
Hmm.
Okay.
All
Uh,
right.
quinoa is like the first thing I tell them, you know, to when they hit the maintenance, then to add back in right after that, because it's also so full of protein. It's great.
Yeah, and fiber. Do you guys
Mhm.
hit
Yep,
upon
absolutely.
the fiber a lot? Well, obviously the fresh fruits and vegetables.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can do it. I actually am a big fan of chia and flax. So I kind of
Okay.
try and get them to my clients to incorporate that all along as well. So then they're to make sure they're getting the proper fiber and nutrition as they go through the program.
Yeah, and flax is good food, good fat too. All right,
Big
so
fan.
tell us a little bit about like how you got into this program. Did you yourself start on it and then you're like, oh, this is like so easy, this is so great? Like, were you ever overweight?
Um,
I mean, I know you to be so lean and mean. She takes my classes, you guys. She's a firehouse. She like kicks it up.
Yeah, I do love to work out. I was only overweight at one point in my life. In all honesty, I went through IVF trying to get pregnant with my second child, spent $30,000 and I gained 30 pounds. And I just didn't look like myself anymore. Like I used to have this narrow back and I was so narrow. And the 30 pounds just threw me. Now my back still never went back to being narrow. No matter what I do, it's tighter, but it's not narrow. And but I did manage
Repeat
to.
childbirth. I know.
Well, IVF though, it's injection of all those hormones is just,
Oh,
it's crazy. But that's the weight I ended up getting off by doing this program. And I was so incredibly grateful for that. And
how long ago did you start? Did you say 5 years ago? So did you
5
start as
years.
a client 5 years ago?
Um, no, so I'm a serial entrepreneur. This is my third business. I had a My Gym Children's Fitness Center for 11 years. Loved that. Loved
Oh
teaching
yeah.
babies. And I had a restaurant, Playtown Cafe. I had that for 5 years. That was here in Boca.
Oh wow. What was
And
it called?
then Playtown Cafe was a
Oh
place
wow.
to take where families could go out to eat, and you could actually sit down and have a conversation with your spouse or your friend and know that your kids couldn't get out. They could play and enjoy without driving you crazy and having to rush through a meal, and you were getting fresh, real food. That was my concept. Um,
Wow. A
so
healthy
then
McDonald's. I mean, not McDonald's, but you know, like how they have that play zone area. They used to have those play zone areas. Very
that
cool.
never looked safe though to me, or sanitary. But yeah, I remember those. I don't know if they probably still do have that. So then I was looking for my next venture. Food and beverage was always my background. And then I came across this. It sounded very interesting. I actually hired a business broker, and I said to him, my only parameter is that I feel like I'm helping somebody every single day, that I just,
I
want,
love that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And close to home would be good too, because I had commuted to Aventura for 8 of those years.
Yeah.
Um, so I just wanted to feel like I was making a difference in someone's life. And he found me this,
Just got
and
chills.
yeah, it was great. I had talked to the woman whose practice it was that I took over. And she described how how she talks to her clients and what
Oh,
people
excuse
do.
me.
And I just loved it. I thought it sounded perfect for me. So I ended up getting some more nutrition certifications, getting more. I flew to New York for a month, got trained in this therapy too. Um, I added food sensitivity testing is also part of the program
Oh,
that I
tell us a
do.
little bit about food sensitivity, because you know what? There's a lot of misunderstanding about food sensitivity, and I don't think that people. I think people need to understand like exactly what your food, how you do it.
So what I do, I use this blood test, it's just a finger prick, so it's very simple. And then we get back these results. If everybody were to food journal and write down exactly what they're eating and how they felt with each thing, you could track it. It would take a really long time to track, because actually with food sensitivities, it could be even up to 72 hours later that your body reacts to it. So
Mm,
it's hard to track, although I do believe in tracking things, like just food journaling in general is a good practice.
yeah.
Um, but the blood test then comes back with this report: severe, high, and moderate. So what it's doing is just saying, how your body's reacting to these things. It comes back with mild too, but we don't even pay attention to milds because we all have mild reactions to things. And then we eliminate those things for 60 days. And then we can test it if you want to reintroduce one thing at a time in moderation and see how your body reacts. Because sometimes you get rid of the inflammation, your body's able to tolerate particular foods. But, it's so life-changing. It can be extremely impactful. I have, this one client who looked like she was 6 months pregnant all of the time, and she felt miserable, this terrible bloat. And it was just something she ate every day for breakfast that she loved and seemed so innocuous, but for her, it wasn't.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. And also, it's like the overdoing theory. Like your body may be able to tolerate one of those things, but when you put all of them in there,
Mhm.
you're just asking for the perfect storm to happen. So yeah, I totally get that. And something that you had said about about the food sensitivity is, I remember when, and you talk about being on the Mediterranean diet, and it may or may not be for everybody. I went and got um, so, an water irrigation, right? So I get that a couple times a year,
Colonic.
right? And
Mhm.
the gal, and I was Miss Mediterranean, and the gal goes to me, and I was eating chicken back then too. She's like, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't have tomatoes. You shouldn't have wheat barley. You shouldn't have chicken. You should. And she like rattled off like 7 things. Those were like the staple of my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right?
She
Or
could
at
tell
that
that from
time,
the colonic.
She told me that. She like read my biorhythms, and she's like,
Oh,
you
okay.
should, and obviously she saw what was coming out that
I'm
wasn't
gonna-
digested. So just so guys, when you do a colonic, they put a tube up your arsenal, and they flush it with water, and out comes things that are just like stuck and are not that, you see things that aren't digested. You sometimes, they saw vitamins from people, and I can tell you something, it says a lot about the vitamins. So that's a whole nother conversation, a whole nother topic. So it's colonic, another topic. But my point being, now I realize that not everybody is right for Mediterranean diet. I actually wasn't. And listen, how I felt before I went on the Mediterranean diet and bloated to how I was on the Mediterranean diet, night and day. But when I took wheat, barley, tomatoes for a little while out, chicken is completely out. When I took the wheat, barley out of my diet and those tomatoes, them together combined, I was like a new kid. Like it was just a whole
Yeah.
new
And that's
conversation.
a food sensitivity, right?
So I did
Mediterranean
have a
diet
food
doesn't mean you
sensitivity,
eat everything.
but I
It
still eat Mediterranean-ish, but I
right.
use cauliflower instead of wheat, barley, or I use farro or
Oh, I love farro.
quinoa, right? Or quinoa or
Mhm.
kamut, right? I use a different type of grain that doesn't make me feel like it's not being digested, and it causes bloating and pain and inflammation. So I love
Exactly.
this. So
That's
tell us,
actually so cute.
how do
Mhm.
we get in touch with you? How do we get started? Like how does somebody get started with you?
You can give me a call. Are you going to be posting my phone number, my website
Yeah.
or anything? Okay.
Yep.
My
I'll put all
website's
that.
naturalweightlossflorida.com.
Okay.
People can call or text me.
Okay.
And I do, free phone consultations just to go a little bit more in depth. I like to get to know my clients. The first appointment takes about an hour, just so, because I really want to get to the bottom of their habits. I have a 9-page intake form. So we really break down each thing, because it's not just, oh, here's what you need to do to lose weight. No, I want to know everything that they generally do, so we can really, see where I can help them. And there's so much, the sleep, the water, the exercise, even just who's doing the grocery shopping and when. How often do you go in the grocery store? Oh, you go 3 times a week? Well, it doesn't sound like you're doing any planning. And so these are all the things that we
I love
we
that.
get
So
into.
you'll be able to save them time, money, and bloatiness so much. When you first came to Becca T-Bon Fit, we were doing like all lives. We had 3 lives a day. It was a completely different system. But what brought you to the interest of being involved in resistance bands training?
Um, First of all, you really appealed to my age, I guess I would say. I was working out at like LA Fitness at the time. Everybody was super young. I'm 52, and
Gorgeous.
I just felt kind of a connection because of that.
Do you want to
Um,
be with grandma? Because I'm 59.
I just we had met, what was it, through Blanca Greenstein, right?
Yeah.
I really connected with something you had said that day, and it just seemed like we were kindred spirits. I love the program in itself. I use my bands daily. I do have trouble tuning in for the lives, but I watch, I watch the replays. I do it at home when I can do it. My favorite
Yeah.
day is Wednesday, the Pilates, that Pilates core. Love the Wednesdays. Um, so and you got me on the trampoline. I actually bought
Yes.
one for home. So
Dump sport trampolines, they rock. They are just, you put these two modalities together, and it's the perfect workout. It's everything. And
yeah,
your program sounds really amazing. Anybody who's out there who's looking for a more systemized, simple systemized approach, I love the idea of how she incorporates both health and utilizing a tool like the acupressure balls to help fine tune your body so that it reads better, and it helps omit some of those cravings and crushings and those hard times for you. So it sounds like
exactly.
a really great idea. I love it. There's a lot of science behind it. I think it came from Canada. Was it originally?
No,
And then
actually, Dr. Sadkin's from Russia.
Oh, Russia.
He
I'm
originally
close.
was,
I'm
he
close.
was
Didn't somebody in
so
Canada say they could see Russia? Okay. Just saying. All right, we won't go there. So thank you so much for all your time. I know you're busy. I'll let you rock and roll. Guys, I'm going to post all the information right down below on how to get in touch with Beth and find out your next best move and how to get started with her. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Thanks, Becca. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Create your best day ever.